Hey guys, it's Review Boys. Please don't notice that we switched our shirts so that you didn't notice that we're filming twice on the same day. Welcome to our first ever episode of mini reviews. We decided to start this series because sometimes we want to cover 2 albums in 1 week but don't have time. The concept is that there's no skit, no bloopers, and we're going to try and keep it under 5 minutes.
Except it doesn't all be over 5 minutes because you explained that it was going to take 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, Ethan. A subscriber actually requested the new Lumineers album, and another friend had previously asked me to give her my thoughts on it. So we decided to go with the new, is it called 3?
Yeah, the 3 by Britney Spears.
The what?
Cold Beers.
The who?
The Who. The Lumineers are currently one of the most popular folk bands right now, touring worldwide for the last few years. They put out, this is their 3rd album. And they're really well known for their really stripped back production and simple songwriting techniques. Songs like Ophelia, Oh Hey, and Cleopatra have put these artists at the top of the folk industry for their anthemic hooks and catchy melodies. 3 is different from other Lumineers albums in that it is not only shorter, but also a visual album. So every song had sort of a music video that went along with it. Also, it's divided into 3 parts that kind of tell 3 separate stories, but they're all kind of linked together in some way. So it's a very conceptual album, a lot different from some of their previous work. I had the opportunity to watch the visual album along with listening to it a couple of times, and I sort of had that experience when you read a book and you expect the movie to be a certain way, but it's not. So I was definitely like kind of off-put by a lot of the images that they chose to pair with these lyrics because they had a different sort of meaning in my mind. I think at times the visual elements of the story in a lot of ways distracted from the message I thought they were trying to tell through a lot of their lyrics. What sort of things were you expecting out of an album like this?
My only experience with the Lumineers up until this point was Oh Hey, just because it was on the radio. And I haven't, as we all know from the Wilco album, I haven't listened to a whole lot of folk music. And this is obviously a lot more mainstream, I guess, more pop than Wilco, could you say that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Even though it's still definitively folk, it's just closer to the mainstream. And so I was like, maybe I'll like it more than the Wilco album. But overall, I just kind of learned from this album I don't really like the style of a lot of the stylistic choices that come along with folk, especially the guitar. Pretty much any time there was like a strumming guitar, I just did not enjoy it at all. Like Gloria, it wasn't easy to be happy for you. Left for Denver, My Cell, and The Salton Sea, all just, it's a huge chunk of the instrumentation I just didn't enjoy at all, just the way it sounds. And that's just a personal preference again. Even if I did enjoy other aspects of the song, I found it hard to enjoy it entirely or find myself wanting to go back because of how it sounded.
Overall, the production on this album was exactly what I expected. Nothing really experimental or outside of what they're comfortable with. A lot of their songwriting is very stripped back and simple, often with just a guitar leading it, or a simple piano melody. The guitars are often very distant. There's lots of reverb on the vocals and percussion. Generally, the musicianship on this album is nothing special, just lots of very simple chord progressions or just simple melodies that didn't really seem to add anything to the album. I think a lot of the songs just kind of sat in this is indie, clap your hands, not like this is an artistic statement. The album as a whole, however, took a much more serious approach than previous albums, with songs like Gloria dealing with alcoholism and Jimmy Sparks dealing with illegal activities. Tracks I felt like did a really good job lyrically of telling stories or explaining a message. Others like My Cell just felt like this, I'm gonna paste this in here and it's gonna be popular. The lyrics weren't anything special, just lots of O's and ahs.
Yeah, I actually didn't really have a huge problem with the writing. In fact, I think it was their strongest point, or at least I couldn't say anything bad about it, in my opinion. It felt really intentional, really personal, and they address stuff like addiction and the effect it can have on a family, and you know, you see the story pass on through the track list with Donna, Gloria, and then the son, Jimmy. It felt really conceptual, and it felt well done to me. I just wish I cared, but it's hard to when you don't like the production at all. I will also say this, they did a really good job of building. Like I said, I didn't always love the instruments, but I liked the instrumentation. Sometimes they would add stuff or they would take away stuff in a way that contributed to the emotion, the mood of the piece. The builds on Leader of the Landslide, My Cell, and Salt in the Sea, I felt like they built up emotion in a really strong way. And then I thought his singing was pretty good at times. It was easy to listen to, and other times I felt like he really fell into a folk style of singing, and again, just did not enjoy that very much.
I enjoyed the track Leader of a Landslide, and I did enjoy a few tracks on here, but it also, when I found out that it was divided into 3 parts, I was surprised. Like, I didn't quite understand. It seemed like they all just kind of had the same sound. There was nothing that really separated them.
Yeah, I guess it was just story-wise. I don't know, it felt like, yeah, I mean, writing-wise, it felt cohesive to me, especially when Leader of the Landslide interpolated Gloria. Like, I saw the stories kind of interweave in a really effective way, and I think, while it may have been kind of, they might have catered to the cliches of folk styles or trends, I thought it was taking advantage of the audience and knowing your audience, you know. I didn't really see it as a negative. And I'm also not as familiar with those trends, so it might not have tired me as much as it would have you. Quickly, before we get kicked out by security, Ethan, what were your final thoughts?
Overall, I thought this album was a step in the right direction for the Lumineers. While their previous stuff seemed to be about nothing, at least this is about something. I'm sorry. Overall, I think this is a step in the right direction for the Lumineers. I think they're at the point in their career where they could pretty much put out anything and their fans are gonna love it because they're super popular. But they chose to do something somewhat artistic in a lot of ways. I think it was a lot more cold, and I didn't really hear any #1 hits on this album, which, although none of it really made sense to me, it at least shows me that they're doing what they want to do, which I think is a good thing. But for me, most of the stuff on this album just didn't work, whether it be a lot of the production choices, the lyrics, the combination of what they chose to do with the visual album. It just didn't really ring well for me, and I don't think it did for Ben either.
Yeah, I just now really firmly know that I don't enjoy folk music at all, really. So styles, yeah, production decisions just didn't really resonate with me. Though I do recognize some of their talent and skill and be able to craft a song that can build emotion musically, but also the writing. I think he's a talented writer. I think he pulls from a very personal place. But again, just did not. It's hard to care. It's hard to let that resonate when you don't enjoy the music. So I'm gonna give it a.
Oh, what are we giving it? We're giving it beers. Is that okay?
Yes.
I didn't think about it. Yeah. I'm torn.
For beers.
It's a 3 or a 4.
For you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A 3 or a 4. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a 4 in my book. 4 cold beers.
Cold beers. Yeah.
What else was I gonna say?
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, and listen to a better folk album. There are better ones out there, like the recent Andrew Bird album. Good stuff. What else this year?
I don't know. You need to tell me better folk music. I folk album. I bet I can enjoy a folk album.
Radical Face just had a re-release.
We'll probably cut that. It's not
Cool.
Like and subscribe.